guys, welcome back to my channel. So today it will be another lesson, and today we are actually adding something new to the lesson, which are the ground poles. So after a couple months of doing a lot of circles at the walk, the trot, and the canter to just get our gates set up, it's finally time to try something new. So we will add the ground poles today, which are just going to be like poles on the ground for those of you that wouldn't know what ground poles are. And what they do is basically they help the horse to figure out their leg placement, so leg awareness as I call it, and then it also helps to modulate, regulate their gait as well, their speed. So I think they're all around a really great tool for your horse to learn or just to use overall. You can use it in most disciplines, so you can use it in the jumper ring, the hunter ring, as well as in the dressage ring. It's a very important tool in order to be able to actually train the horse to do certain things for you by lifting their legs and such. So that's the very first step that you want to do, is make sure that your horse can go over them without any issues, without refusing to go through. So with us, it was just like a walk in the park. It really didn't feel like there was actually anything on the ground when she was going over them. So that's the best reaction that you can get, and that's exactly what you're actually looking for. So after going over it a couple times at the walk, these are set up to be trotting poles. So that means that the spacing between the poles is different. So depending on which gait you want to work on, you can just basically space them out and just have like either an extended trot, extend the stride, or compress it as well. Or if you want to set up as a jump, you can also do that. So these ones are actually trotting poles. So after we're gonna be done the warm-up, our goal is to just basically trot over them and not see any head motion or anything like that. You just want to keep the same rhythm, the same consistency on or off the poles. They should be just an aid for your horse to just kind of figure it out, collect a little bit, and go over them. So as always, we always start with a warm-up. It's really important to make sure that your horse is properly warmed up. You want to make sure that the tendons, the ligaments, the muscles, everything is ready to go. So we're just starting usually in circles, doing a lot of like trotting, walking, changing the pace, changing the direction. Here we're doing a little spiral. And those are the things that helps to kind of loosen my horse a little bit. I notice that she's often a little bit more stiff on the right side of her head than the left. So it takes a little bit of time to get her used to just relax a little bit and just settle in for her head. But other than that, she's doing really good. So what I focus on as a rider is to get her as like relaxed as possible. So I try to ask her to lower her head a little bit, like just release her jaw a little bit more, and see if we can get a good relaxation there. So the rhythm is actually a very important component. And that's something I like to work on when I'm doing the warm-up, is just to make sure that the rhythm is consistent, and I can increase it, decrease it, and ask her to go a little bit forward, move off my legs and such. So these are things that I really work on. Also, I do a little bit of lateral motion, working here in a spiral, so trying to get her to soften, bend properly, as well as keep the same rhythm. I must say sometimes we do tend to lose the rhythm. Sometimes she goes faster, sometimes she goes too slow, but most of the time she's pretty consistent. So that's what I like about her, is that you can expect pretty much the same work from her. would it be like, you know, three weeks before or the same day, you just hop on. And she has a standard trot now that's very established. She has a standard walk as well that's very established. We're just working actually on the canter to get the same thing, but other than that, like, she's very, very, very good in that way that, you know, once you're actually asking her to trot, she maintains that trot for as long as you ask her to go for the trot. So after a good warm-up, it's time for us to just give Hazel a longer rein, let her breathe a little bit, and then we can actually chit-chat a little bit, me and my coach, and just talk about what we're planning, what we think we are gonna do, and such. And then it's a great time to just actually learn a little bit more about what's going on, see what would be the next step for us, and what we're actually doing really good and what we need to work on. So sometimes what I do is I ask my coach what she would think I should do when I practice on my own, what should be my main focus and such, and it usually really helps me to kind of figure out where we're at, what am I looking for when I'm actually riding on my own, and that helps to kind of break it down for me. So once the horse is properly warmed up, it's time to get into the action and just hit those trotting poles. As you can see here, she had her head go in the air just a bit, not too much, but of course, as soon as you repeat the same exercise over and over, it just gets better. So as they say, practice makes perfect. So you'll see as we're gonna go over these poles a couple of times, and the main goal of it is just to make sure that Hazel doesn't lift her head up in the air. She stays consistent in her gait, and that just, you know, she just seems to just be floating above these poles like there's nothing happening underneath. And your job as the rider is the exact same thing, is you're gonna just guide the horse through it as if there was nothing on the ground. You let them figure out their leg placements with the poles. You just glide over them just as if there was nothing at all there. So after doing it on one side or one rein, we're just going around the other way, the opposite way, and see how we're gonna do this time. Some horses are a little quirky. They have a side that's a little bit harder for them to work on, and that's their weaker side, if you will. So it's really important to make sure that what you do on the one side, you have to do on the other. So when you go in one direction, you have to also go to the opposite direction as well. That really helps them to like really integrate the new concept, the new notions that you're teaching them, and it gets to work both sides of their brains, which is something that you really want to do, as well as working, of course, the muscle on the opposite side. So you just really want to make sure that you have the same level on both sides, and you don't want to have anything uneven. So whatever you do on one side, you do on the other. And like that, you get a well-rounded horse that is not spooky, that's able to do pretty much anything and everything, and that's exactly what we want to do. Since it's our first lesson after the lameness, we're actually spending a little bit more time to keep it easy for her, just to get back into the shape, getting back into the program. So we're giving her lots of breaks, lots of time to just relax a little bit. We don't want to overwork her after 3 weeks off not doing anything. You just want to go in and ease in slowly. Prior to this lesson, I of course lunge her. That's very important for safety reason, especially when they're cooped up. The end of February actually ended up being pretty cold. We had a good snowfall, actually 2 good snowfalls. So on those days, Hazel tends to not really use the outdoor as much. So it's really important to just take care of that bundled up energy. So that's what I did. So a good lunging, and then after that we're good for a while. We're ready to go into the program. So here you have the perfect example of a little tantrum that she does sometimes when I'm asking her to just stay still. Sometimes I do get mixed reaction. She is a little bit of a squirmy bum. She loves to go all the time. But sometimes I'm asking her to stop just because we want to either place the reins a little bit better, just adjust a little bit better. So what you do in these cases, obviously she's very emotional, she's very unhappy and pleased with what's going on, is just to ride it through. So like a bit like a toddler, sometimes they do have a little bit of a meltdown, but you gotta let them express the emotion and just stay with them. So what you do is you stay calm, sit as straight as you can, and give them a little whip if that's what you need to do, and ask them to go forward. So I just asked her to go to the trot for a little bit, and then I will ask her for a stop again and see if my point was made and if we can just get to an agreement that I'm asking her to stop. So see, I did it at a different place to make sure that she would understand what I'm asking for and just stay out of the zone where we had the conflict. And it was not a big issue. So ask her to stop for 2 seconds because the point was just to get her to stop and not do anything. And then that's something I'm going to repeat again just to make sure that the point was made and that she can stop when I'm asking her to. What happened with a lot of riders is that they get frustrated themselves. The horse is frustrated, the rider is frustrated, and that's not helping the situation. So staying calm is really the key. You really have to just stay calm. Don't go crazy with the whip or anything like that. It's not a big issue. It's just that, you have to really work that emotions with them. So with Hazel, I just gave her, I think, one little crop on the bum, and that was it, just to make my point, like, hey, stop going around, stop jiggling, and then that was it. I'm not overcorrecting her, I'm not going crazy with the whip and whipping it, just out of frustration. So that's really important to assess and address yourselves first. So make sure that you are well-rounded, that you are calm and collected, and as soon as the problem is solved, just move on to something else, just do a different exercise. So here we're doing the little spiral, trying to get her to collect a little bit and get as tight as possible in that circle. It's been something that we've been working on like right before she got lame, and it's something that I have a little bit of trouble working on myself. It's not necessarily the horse the issue, it's just me. I have trouble assessing where I should go with the horse to make circles in the spiral. So sometimes it does take me a little bit to just figure that out, like just the measurement. But overall, it's I'm pretty good. It's getting better and better, of course. I just need more practice. So after a good spiral exercise, it's time to just hit the poles once again. I really love how it really helps the horse to kind of just pick up their front end. One of the things that we've been working on, of course, is the canter, but especially getting the horse to rock back on her like back end. That's really important, just to have a very well balanced canter. You want the canter to be so ever light that you can't barely hear it. So that's something we're working on. You really have to rock them on their haunches, just so they can have the proper collection and allowed to have the proper balance and the proper movement as well for the canter. And that's something that the poles can help you do, is just literally just the fact that they have to lift their front end makes them actually rock on their back end at that instant, and then you have a little bit more leverage when it comes to like asking them to just use all that back end muscle the way they should. So now switching up her exercise to pick up a canner. As you can see, it wasn't that bad. I would want to rock her a little bit more on her haunches, but overall not that bad. It's definitely getting better and better over time. Her head carriage is awesome. Her head barely moves from the transition from the trot to the canner, which is actually something really amazing. That means our communication is working, it's efficient, and we succeeded at that. So starting with a horse that was just green, no connection, she wouldn't pay attention to me or anything like that. That's huge progress. And technically we've been in a training program for 6 months, but out of the 6 months, Hazel was lame probably 2 months out of there, so 4 months of training, and she is coming along pretty great. So I'm really excited for the show season ahead. Hopefully we can show, because there is definitely a double pandemic happening. So we have the COVID-19 for the humans, and there's also the equine, I don't know what it's called, I think it's like rhino flu, but they have like also a disease that's going on around the barns, and that's a little bit concerning. So we'll see how we can get around that. I'm just thinking if we can't hit the show grounds per se, we'll just do online shows. But regardless, we'll definitely be showing. I'm just super proud of the work we've done, and I think we can definitely ace those low-level dressage tests. So quite happy here with the way she's carrying herself. She's bundling pretty nice. We went a little bit into the inside towards the end, but that's okay. Sometimes we do have a little bit of a setback when it comes to asking her to collect. So she's more often than not would fall inside the circle, and it's a bit harder for me to catch her and push her towards the outside. But that's been like one of our issues since the beginning, is just to always like do two things at once. You're focused on the rhythm, you're focused on the balance, but you also have to focus on the direction, and sometimes it's just a little bit too much going on at once, especially when you're trying something new. In this case we have a new bit, and that's something that's helping us greatly, but it's also a huge adaptation for us to just kind of communicate in a different way. So all of that combined makes it a little hard sometimes to just push them towards the outside, make sure that the horse's placement is perfect. So either I nailed the speed but I don't nail the placement, or vice versa. So you really there's a lot of things going on for those of you that just think that horse riding is just sitting on the animal and they do everything for you. You couldn't be any more wrong. There's a lot of work that goes behind these super animals and these beautiful shapes, I can tell you that for sure. So same here, we're going to be working on the shape of the circle as well as cantering a bit. This is the side I'm currently struggling with. I say currently because it used to be the opposite side, but for a reason now it's just the one that I actually have a little bit of a harder time with her. Just to keep the shape, keep the bend, keep everything relaxed and everything. I don't know why, it's just a little harder, but we'll see how I do for the first canter. So here the transition from trot to canter was actually very seamless. It was really good. I did lose the horse quickly though. It wasn't that much of a canter that we got, but the impulsion at the beginning was really great, so that's a great sign. It's just that sometimes the balance hand to leg for me is a little hard. We're still getting that fine line kind of tweaked and tuned, because with Hazel it's just a little, I just have to catch it at the right time so I can get my horse to continue cantering. But you know, with time we'll definitely get it. It's just there's just such a slim line between the trot and the canter, especially with this horse, that once you get it, you get it. But it's just for me to just figure it out every single time, where's the line, where's the line, where's the line. But other than that, I think we're doing good. And the impulsion was really nice. Her bum did went a little lower, and then you had a little bit of a leverage like in the front, which was beautiful. So once again, a seamless transition here from the trot to the canter. The head is moving a little bit, much more than I would like it to, but the canter is actually pretty great for what I'm able to accomplish on this side, and I've been struggling with it for such a while that I'm really happy that she actually picks up the right legs at the right time, and it actually looks pretty seamless. One of the other things I'm going to eventually work on as soon as we get enough balance is to obviously keep that balance and keep her running until I decide to just stop, basically. So she's really good at the trot. She's got a good stamina for the trot, but the canter we just have to work a little bit more. I would like to be able to do a couple more circles before we call it quits. So once again, another break, well-deserved break for her. She worked really hard. The canter obviously makes us both a little bit more tired than the trot does. So it's really good to just give her a long rein, give her a good pat, just let her to just walk a little bit and breathe in and out, so she doesn't lose patience or stamina. So that's really good. So it's pretty much the end of the lesson here. We've accomplished what we wanted to accomplish. We got her over those poles, we've got her to canter on both sides, and we did a lot of bending exercises, which we can never get too much of. Bends, rhythm is really important. These are definitely like pillars of dressage. You have to have the proper positioning. So I'm really happy that we got all of that done. And as you can see, even though the lesson's over, Hazel still has lots of energy to give, which is something that we'll definitely work on a little bit more over the weekend. Like as I said in multiple of my videos, energy management with thoroughbred is really important. Sometimes they do have a lot of energy, and you have to just make sure you keep it at a safe level. At this point it is safe, but I would like it to be a little lower than that, so when we're done a lesson or whatever, she's done for the day and she's happy with that. Thank you guys so much for joining us into this dressage journey. I'm so blessed to have all of you guys watching my videos, commenting, engaging in my Instagram. Feel free to also leave comments down below. I would love to read you what you think, what you do with your horse, which discipline are you in. Yeah, just tell me a little bit more about you guys. I would love to hear and read all of these comments from you. So yeah, this is the end of the lesson, and we'll see you guys very, very soon for either a new lesson or a practice run. And then let me know also once again in the description down below or in the comments what you guys would want to see, and then I'll try to do that for you guys.